scientific facts about each zodiac sign. Cancers are the most likely to get arrested. An analysis of the FBI database found that Cancers were most arrested compared to any other sign, and they were usually serious crimes. Cancers might be the most arrested, but Geminis committed the most soft crimes. Generally speaking, Geminis were busted for things like fraud and stealing most. There's 4 signs that earn the most money. Scorpio, Leo, Cancer, and Taurus were most likely to earn over $100,000 per year, while Aquarians and Capricorns were most likely to earn less than $35,000 per year. Leos are the worst drivers. An Australian car share service analyzed 100,000 of its drivers and found that Leos are the most likely to get a speeding ticket. According to the data, Leos were 40% more likely to get a speeding ticket than Libras. Now you better not be laughing if you're Pisces, because Pisces are the most likely to run a red light or park in a no parking zone.
Diddy's trial genuinely feels like this crime drama show because it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Besides everything he did to Cassie, this man was living a mobster life. Imagine breaking into a man's home and setting his car on fire just because your ex started dating him. His former assistant said that he once accused her of stealing his jewelry, so his bodyguard took her to do a lie detector test and told her that if she failed it, she was going to be thrown into the East River. How crazy is that? She said that she was forced to take this lie detector test over and over again for 5 days straight. Some of his employees were constantly threatened that they were going to be if they did anything against him. She talked about a time Diddy repeatedly kicked Cassie in the back while she was on the floor, and his bodyguards just watched and it did absolutely nothing. Now, this woman testified today, and she was also one of Diddy's assistants back in the day, and said that he assaulted her many times, and there was one time where he actually went inside her bedroom where she was sleeping one night and he arred her. She said that he had a rule that no one was allowed to lock the doors in the house, so one night he snuck into her room while she slept and he forced himself on top of her, and then he forced her to do oral on him. She claimed to have seen Diddy beat Cassie so bad one time that her head bled and she would just get into fetal position and literally no one would intervene. I'm not even surprised anymore with all this new information coming out about Diddy. It's just mind-boggling that it took decades for people to actually speak up. And all I'm going to say is that it does not look good for Diddy at all.
If you were thinking about studying in America, you might want to watch out what you're posting on social media. The Trump administration has just suspended all new student visa applications at US embassies around the world. And the reason why shocked everyone. According to a leaked cable, they're suspending applications while they set up a whole new system for much deeper social media screenings of students that want to come to the United States. And the memo suggests that it's not just what you post, but they also want to be able to look at your comments, shares, likes, basically your entire online footprint across all social media platforms dating back years. Now, what specifically they're looking for isn't as clear. It's kind of just what they deem as a threat to the United States. But what we do know is earlier this year, Trump ordered social media vetting for all applicants who have been to Gaza in the last 18 years. And then that, along with the recent arrest of foreign students involved in pro-Palestinian protests, seems to indicate that they could be partly looking for posts that signal anti-Semitism or a anti-Israel rhetoric. Of course, among other things. But the question is this too far, or exactly what the majority of Americans voted for?
Facts that could save your life. Make sure to keep your doors closed when you're sleeping. If there's a fire when you're sleeping, there's a huge difference between leaving your door open versus keeping it closed. If you're ever scuba diving and feel like you have to vomit, don't take the regulator out of your mouth, just vomit straight into it. Because the natural inclination is to inhale after you vomit, so if you do that, you're going to inhale a ton of water. If a service dog ever comes up to you without its owner, follow it. They could be bringing you to their owner who could potentially be in danger or need help. If you ever need to break a car window, don't hit in the center, aim for the bottom edges here. Car doors are normally tempered glass, which means they're a lot more brittle along the edges.
People who gained real-life superpowers after an accident. Jason Padgett was a party animal who hated school and got terrible grades. But one day, 2 men savagely robbed and attacked Jason outside of a karaoke bar, leaving him with a severe concussion. The concussion caused him to become a mathematical genius and made him learn fractal geometry, which he had never been taught before. When Derek Amato was 39 years old, he hit his head after diving into a swimming pool and was diagnosed with a concussion and 35% hearing loss. After that, Derek began to see black and white keys in his head, and out of nowhere, he began to play the piano like an expert. Ben McMahon was in a car accident in 2015 and fell into a coma for a week. When he woke up, he could speak perfect Chinese even though he had only learned the basics as a child. Tony Ciceria was struck by lightning after making a call in a phone booth. Within a couple days, he was addicted to music, which he wasn't before. After trying the piano, he became a musical artist, composing his own music.
People have just found out about the most disturbing tribe in the entire world. Papua New Guinea is home to some of the biggest communities of tribes in the entire Earth. These communities being so off-grid, most of these people don't even really know what's going on in the outside world. The Spirit Tribe looked like some of the scariest people you could ever see. These masks which are made out of mud, and they sit here on the waterfall all day. Spirits are actually here to guard this waterfall and the water that surrounds it, as the people in this tribe believe that the spirit lives inside of the waterfall. It's also believed that anybody who swims in this water has a very fortunate and happy life. So they are there to essentially guard this from people who shouldn't be going there. Recently, there's been lots of secret footage released of these people, along with other tribes in the area. But as I say, a couple of journalists actually did manage to get into this tribe and speak to these people, and it turns out they like cigarettes, and that was the gift for them. Although these people look terrifying, and people online have been saying that these are the most cannibalistic people on Earth, they are not at all. They're actually one of the most peaceful tribes out there. Say their job is to simply protect the waterfall and protect the spirit. Do agree. They do look pretty terrifying.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. While this picture looks like nothing but your average movie theater, it's pretty much the opposite. All of these men were German Nazi soldiers that were captured during World War II. The men were forced to watch a film about the Holocaust. They all had a variety of reactions, but most of the men were horrified by what the film depicted, as they were unaware about how violent their military truly was. This is a portrait of Maria de Hoya. Maria passed away from tuberculosis at just 21 years old, and during her illness, her doctor fell in love with her. After she passed away, her doctor kept her body and mummified it. He kept her corpse in his home for 7 years before he was finally caught and arrested.
This is the first public sighting of Julie Chrisley since she was released from prison. Let's talk about it. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet since Todd and Julie Chrisley were released from federal prison. Since then, they've now returned home to Nashville, where they haven't left their family's side. As you can see here, Julie's hair is a lot darker now, and Chase Chrisley said he's ready for her to go back to platinum blonde. Now, it's been confirmed, Todd Chrisley hasn't lost his sense of humor since he's been in prison, and he's been seen on social media with Savannah making jokes. Now, while we haven't seen a complete photo of Todd Chrisley since his release yet, it's stated that he's been hitting the gym, and it shows. Now, this photo was taken of Julie Chrisley today as she was out and about in Nashville with her family. Now that the Chrisleys have been released, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of them in public in the coming days. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, and make sure to drop a follow for more.
5 facts you didn't know that one day could save your life. If your car ever falls into a body of water, the first thing you have to do is crack open a window or door. If you don't do this, the water pressure on your car will be too great and you'll be effectively boxed inside your car, and you'll have to wait for your car to fully fill with water before you can get out. Next, if you're trapped in rubble, do not scream. Screaming will only strain your vocal cords and cause you to lose your voice. What you're going to want to do is grab an object and tap in intervals of 3. Rescuers will pick up on this auditory rhythm, and once you hear them coming closer to you, then you can start screaming and they'll find you. If you see a tornado that looks like it's not moving, it's coming towards you, so you better run. If you ever get into an Uber, always check the child lock. Make sure it's set to unlock, because if the child lock is on, you're stuck in the car with no way out. Finally, if you ever fall into the tracks at a subway station, don't waste your time trying to climb back out. They actually have crawl spaces built into the subway tracks that you can hide in until rescuers come and safely extract you.
Ronald McDonald first appeared in the McDonald's ads in the 1960s, and believe it or not, he was even more terrifying back then. But people loved him. Later, Ronald was redesigned into the tall, red-haired clown that we know, that was long and lanky and seemingly made to resemble a French fry. So when did the public's opinion on Ronald turn to creepy? By 2003, the public felt uneasy looking at Ronald, so McDonald's redesigned the look into a modern feel that ran for ads in Japan. But these did not go over well. By 2014, they tried another makeover that was supposed to be more of a hipster vibe. But again, these didn't land very well. People did not feel comfortable with this version of Ronald. Between failed reinventions and health societies saying that McDonald's was using a clown to try to market to younger audiences, they eventually fully retired the creepy mascot of Ronald McDonald.
How rare is your body? Let's find out. Only about 6% of people can vibrate their eyes back and forth. And your eyes aren't actually vibrating, it just looks like it because they're moving back and forth extremely quick. Only about 18% of people can wiggle both their ears, and 22% can wiggle just one ear. And it's believed that this could be inherited, but it can also be learned with practice. Only 3% of people have an X on both their palms, and in palm reading, this is normally regarded as a sign of a strong character. About 4% of people have Cupid's bow's lips, and Cupid's bow is the name of the lip shape when your lip comes to two distinct points at the top and then meet in the middle. About 80% of people are affected by acne at one point in their life. Acne is most common in teenagers, but it can appear any point in your life. And about 20% of people have very severe acne. Only about 1% of people are ambidextrous, and this is when you have no preference over your right or left hand. Only about 4% of people have a clubbed thumb, and this is just when you have a shorter thumb, and doctors don't know exactly what caused it, but it's believed to be congenital.
3 scary movies that were based on real stories, and the third one is absolutely insane. Scream just made yet another resurgence of the franchise as kind of the campy classic in the horror genre. But this whole franchise actually has some truth behind the original concept, as it was inspired by the Gainesville Ripper of Florida, who took the lives of 5 students seemingly for no motive other than just to gamify the killings. He even posed the bodies so that when others found them, it was horrifying. Child's Play is a movie that I would have never imagined to have had some truth behind it. But the original concept that inspired the script was actually based on Robert the Doll, which was gifted to a child in the early 1900s by a woman who practiced voodoo. People claimed this doll could walk and talk on its own. Open water is a nightmare concept of a couple that gets left behind on a boating tour in shark-infested waters. But this exact scenario did happen to a real-life couple who were also left in shark-infested waters.
So with the amount of people that pass away in hospitals, it's no surprise that they're reportedly full of a lot of paranormal activity. Some people even say that when there are many deaths occurring in a certain area, portals are opened up. And as these souls exit this world, other things, entities, creep in. A nurse who wants to remain anonymous said that she used to work in a skilled nursing facility. She was usually assigned the Alzheimer's ward. One night, she was in the linen room stocking her cart, and she heard someone shuffle up behind her. Then, she said she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around, and there was no one else in the room. A female patient started to complain that there was a man coming into her room late at night. Anonymous said that she was in the Alzheimer's ward, so she didn't think much of it. To reassure the patient, she told her that she would come check on her throughout the night. She complained of this man every night for 2 more weeks. The nurse finally asked her to describe him, and the patient said, "He's real handsome, and he wears a black suit. Oh, and he's right behind you now, honey." The nurse said that this freaked her the F out. Of course, there was no one behind her. The patient died the next night in her sleep. So these nurses and doctors really do have a lot of great supernatural stories. And I don't know what to think about that one, because she was, like she said, in an Alzheimer's ward. And Alzheimer's patients can hallucinate. But the nurse did say that when she heard someone shuffle up behind her, she also felt a hand on her shoulder. And I don't know, guys, this story is pretty creepy. The patient described the man as being in all black, yet very handsome. I know that the Grim Reaper is conventionally described as being in like a hooded
cloak. But could this have been the Grim Reaper? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments.
This is the scariest thing that could ever happen to you on the entire planet. Imagine living your entire life only to realise that it was all fake. This is 100% true and could happen to you. Time is relative, and if you're dreaming, it could actually only be 5 minutes in the real world, but it could feel like a whole day in the dream world, right? You've probably had a dream like that. So, a while back, a young boy went to school, and this particular day he was out in the playground and he got into a fight with some of the bullies there. It was quite a hefty fight. He got punched in the face, knocked down to the ground, but just managed to pick himself back up. After that, he decided to leave from the school because it was quite bad, went to a new school and just carried on his life. He ended up being a very successful businessman, owning multiple businesses, having, you know, the dream life. 2 kids, all the dream cars, dream house, going on nice holidays every year, everything you could imagine. Until one day when it all changed. The guy was now in his 50s, so he'd lived his entire life, really, and had everything he ever wanted. And one night, laying on the couch watching TV with his family, he stared over at the light on the other side of the room, and he noticed it just looked strange. It didn't look like it had done before. It was almost blurry. It just didn't make any sense. And he became fixated on this every single day, every single night. He would sit there and stare at this lamp, trying to figure out what was going on with it, because it was almost 2D, and it just didn't make any sense. That was when the realization came that the lamp was never there. The lamp wasn't even real. His life flashed before his eyes, and the young boy then woke up on the playground after being beaten up by the bully. He was knocked out from the fight, and his mind had literally created this whole life just in his head in that 5 minutes where he was knocked out, but it felt like an entire life to him. So he woke up and was asking people, where are my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my car? What's going on? Everybody laughed at him, was just like, you're literally a 10-year-old in school. What's going on? But this is genuinely real. This has actually happened to people, especially people who have been in comas. So what's to say we're not dead right now and our minds are just creating this whole life that's not even real?
Day 12 of Diddy's trial, and a former assistant testifying under the pseudonym Mia took the stand today. She claimed that during her time working for Diddy from 2009 to 2017, he sexually assaulted her multiple times. Mia described a toxic work environment, claiming she had to be on call 24/7, couldn't lock her bedroom door, and was forced to stay awake for 5 days straight. She also said that Diddy had thrown things at her, thrown her against the wall, thrown her into a pool, and slammed her arm into a door. She recalled witnessing him physically abuse Cassie, including an incident where he allegedly slammed her head into a bed frame. A reminder that Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Follow the Trial of Diddy podcast for more updates.
So the real Annabelle doll, the cursed demonic Annabelle doll that belonged to a little girl, is missing. This doll was safely kept in Ed and Lorraine's Warren Museum, and then it was supposed to leave for a tour in the state of Chicago. Why? Why are we playing with fire? Why are we exposing innocent lives to demonic beings? People say in New Orleans, apparently in the place the doll went missing, 10 prisoners escaped prison, multiple places caught fire, and hundreds of people were involved in very bad car accidents. Is it involved or related to that doll being missing? Personally, I don't think so. But I'm also not sure. What I do know is that there is definitely a jinn that is attached to this doll. And this jinn caused a lot of pain to whoever possessed this doll. Jinns are very capable of causing chaos. I really hope this doll is missing. I really hope. And to be honest, I really hope that it's in the hands of a Muslim. Because only a Muslim can end this nightmare once and for all. Because the Muslim will take this doll, cleanse it, and then burn it. The Quran is the only thing that can dismantle every demonic aspect that the Annabelle doll carries. Annabelle is not supposed to be around us. And you, out of all people, you guys, you are not supposed to pay money to put your life in danger by going near things such as the Annabelle doll.
Unsettling videos that will give you the chills. A woman who lived alone decided to record her pantry door at night. Her reasoning for this is that every morning when she woke up, the door would somehow be open. And her camera captured the door somehow opening on its own. She continued to record her door every night and captured multiple videos of the door opening by itself. And the creepiest part about this is that the door opened every single night at 12:34 a.m. This next clip was taken by a security camera in the playroom of an old couple's home. The footage shows multiple toys being played with in the middle of the night, but no one's in the room. And there were only 2 people inside the home, the man and the woman. The camera captured all sorts of toys moving on their own, and this rocking chair doing this. Could this be a ghost caught on camera or just a prank? Comment below.
Okay. So I just got out of the theater watching Bring Her Back and oh my god. There is a lot to unpack with this movie, so I'll try to make it brief with no spoilers. After recently losing their father, brother and sister Andy and Piper move into a brand new house with their foster mother. And if I'm being so for real, that's really all I want to say about the plot, because you just want to see how this entire thing unfolds. In a very similar vein to Talk to Me, not the exact same movie, it's very different, but hits some of the same beats. We roll into another well-written horror movie that not only destroys you with the amount of scares, but absolutely pummels you with the emotional damage that you're gonna feel watching this movie. And just like Talk to Me, it's everything scary. Suspense, body horror, absolute dread throughout the entire thing. And personally, what I feel one of the best jump scares I've seen in a long time. But with those same amount of tensive scares, you also get this really insane story about loss, love, and the lengths that a parent will go to just do whatever they can for their children, whether it be for the better or the worst. This is not going to be the scariest movie you've ever watched, but at the same exact time, this is going to make some people super uncomfortable. Especially with the body horror. There's some great body horror, really good body horror, but it's gonna bother some people. I can think of one scene, it involves a cantaloupe. But I love the fact that it is a very well-written movie with grounded characters with actual grounded emotional baggage that a lot of people can relate to and are gonna have a hard time watching because they're gonna reference back to their own problems in the world. But even if you're really not into horror, I'd recommend sitting through this one. It is absolutely worth it. The 2 brothers, directors that Talk to Me, they've done it again. I give them a lot of props for this one. Go see Bring Her Back in theaters. It is an excellent film, and good luck.
His ex-girlfriend shot him on a staircase after he was coming to the apartment to pick up his belongings in Houston, Texas. The guy was coming over to pick up the rest of his stuff. He was moving out. They broke up. They were dating. Neighbors heard arguments happening. Very crazy arguments, and then a gunshot rang out. It got super loud and aggressive. Police came to the scene, pronounced the guy dead, and the ex-girlfriend, Derica Ross, age 24, was arrested on the scene after she confessed to the killing. Sheriff said he could not be saved. He had a single gunshot wound to the head that killed him instantly. He was only 22 years old. His name was Javion Williams. Now, like I said, the girlfriend Derica Ross confessed at the scene. She was arrested immediately and put into a prison. Her bond is now $150,000. She has been charged with murder, and right now it's unclear if she's entering a plea deal or not because this just happened on Sunday. It remains unclear what exactly the argument was about and why it got so violent so quickly that led to this man's death, but they're still investigating it and interviewing her. Very sad story, and this couple is young. She was 24, he was 22. If you're from Houston, have you heard about this story? Let me know your general thoughts in the comments, guys.
Her life was taken while delivering Girl Scout cookies. This is Marsha Virginia Trimble. She was born on March 28th of 1965 and was living in Nashville, Tennessee. Marsha loved exploring outdoors. She loved roller skating around her neighborhood, but one of her favorite things was being a member of the Girl Scouts. I'm sure many of you know that Girl Scouts always sell their Girl Scout cookies every single year, and this is something that Marsha would look forward to. Although it is a fundraising activity, Marsha liked this because it gave her a chance to meet people in the community. She could donate to a cause that she believed in, and it gave her skills to be an entrepreneur. February 25th of 1975, around 5:10 p.m., Marsha was at home with her mother while she was making dinner. Just before the family was going to sit down for dinner, Marsha told her mother that she was going to quickly deliver some Girl Scout cookies to the Maxwells, who lived right across the road from them. Marsha put her coat on. She was holding a cardboard box with the cookies inside, and she also had her little envelope with her money inside, and she head out the door. As Marsha was walking down the driveway, Miss Maxwell had just returned home from grocery shopping when she noticed that Marsha was holding her cookie box. Miss Maxwell went inside to quickly write a check for Marsha for the cookies that she had ordered, but when she went outside, Marsha never came by. Back at Marsha's home, dinner was now ready, and Marsha's mom was wondering where she was, so she went outside to see if she was in the front yard, couldn't find her. She tried yelling her name out loud, and nothing. Around 7 p.m., Marsha's father called a friend who was a police detective to ask him what they could do about their missing daughter, and he told them to just ride around the neighborhood to see if they could spot her. They had no luck, so Marsha's father called his friend once again, and his friend ended up coming towards the house, and once he realized the gravity of the situation, state and local police started the investigation. The FBI soon joined to the possibility of kidnapping. Even though there were searches being conducted within the area, Marsha was nowhere to be found. That evening, Marsha's sudden disappearance made it onto the news. At the time, Oprah Winfrey was a television reporter, and she showed up at Marsha's home wanting to interview her parents, but they did decline. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no trace of Marsha. That was until 33 days later on Easter Sunday when a man was looking for a boat engine cover in a garage that belonged to his relatives. He saw a girl's legs underneath some clutter, and at first he thought maybe it was a doll, so he poked it with a stick, and that's when he realized that he had just found the body of the missing child just 80 yards away from where she was last seen. Investigators believe that Marsha had been lured into a garage and unalived there. An autopsy report revealed that she had passed away due to strangulation and she was SA'd. Police believe that the murderer was a local resident, and they turned their attention to 15-year-old Jeffrey Womack, and he was one of the last people to see Marsha alive. Marsha had visited Jeffrey's home to sell some cookies, but he had sent her away when he did not have enough money to buy them. Jeffrey stated that once he found out about Marsha's disappearance, he went to her family's home to talk to police and tell them what he knew, and when he got there, they were questioning him aggressively and made him empty out his pockets. When he emptied his pockets, they found a half roll of pennies, a $5 bill, and a condom. Jeffrey had passed 2 polygraph tests, but in 1980, authorities ended up arresting him. However, he was released due to lack of evidence. DNA samples were taken, and due to the advancement in DNA technology, on June 6 of 2008, 60-year-old Jerome Sidney Barrett was indicted on murder charges. He had been convicted for other essays against women and children during the time of Marsha's murder, and he had been working in her neighborhood. While Jerome was in jail, he admitted that he unalived Marsha while he was having an altercation with another jail inmate. On July 18th of 2009, Jerome was found guilty of second-degree murder and was sentenced to 44 years to life in prison.